Spoilers for those of you that aren't watching the B stream. CAG and Team BDS were playing against each other, and it went to overtime. And because it went to overtime, Cyclops picks up a very valuable point that basically clinches their spot in the playoffs. It is still statistically possible for Team 1 to make it, but the likelihood of Team 1 making it means that they need to win both of their matches, and with the round differential, they need to ensure that they are winning the matches about 7-1 or 7-2.
Yeah, I mean...
And beating Cyclops 7-1 seems like an almost impossibility. But that's something that I'm sure that the B stream is going to be talking about, because that's where that match is being played. A reminder for you, if you'd like to go over there and watch it, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. That is the URL that you're looking at right now, twitch.tv/Rainbow6. Just had a Bravo at the end. Ban phase is almost completed, and here on Consulate, Empire will be starting on defense. They get the first and the last ban. TSM's bans were Thatcher and Echo. Valkyrie, unsurprisingly, is the other defender banned to join with Nomad.
All right, bans done, and we get into Consulate. It's both of the information operators dealt with on the defense there, two of the more substantial ones for this map. We've been seeing Echo played very well by many teams on Consulate recently. Valkyrie, a no-brainer. Same with the attacking operators. It will mean that Jackal is in play, and he is a potent force on this map. Lots of roaming on Consulate. You do need to extend yourself out to slow down that attack as much as you can on pretty much any site on this map.
Attackers need to locate and
it'll be the top floor for Empire to start things off. It's known that North America is not too fond of this top floor. Maybe Empire is hoping to leverage that on the defensive side. We'll see if it works out. So far in the operator selection, nothing surprising whatsoever. Of course, with Wamai in play, you can double up on that denial, but Empire will choose not to. Lots of hard destruction for TSM, I will say. A Thermite and an Ace.
They've been putting Beaulo on that Ace roll reliably. After the Zofia nerf, Zofia being one of Bolo's most played operators, I don't know if it was a deliberate move to put him on a secondary hard move.
I think it's an interim type deal. While they find where they'd like him to be in the end. I mean, he's got the AK-12, really great gun. Technically, those Selmas, they do act as soft breach on a lot of things. Yes, like you can break shields with them. You can do a lot of stuff. So it's not exactly the same as Zofia, but until you find a better place for Beaulo, may as well put him on something as powerful as Ace.
All right, well, you look at the lineup being brought for both teams. The matchup that TSM just played against Liquid, which once again, spoilers, TSM came out ahead on. Liquid have already clinched their spot, by the way, in the playoffs. So for them, there's not a ton that they're going to be playing for. For TSM, there's bragging rights, there's pride, there's third place in the group, and the potential to play spoiler to Team Empire.
Which is substantial. Team Empire, I feel as though if Team Empire are allowed to make it to the playoffs, they will have a better run than what we saw from out of them in the groups.
Yeah.
That's going to enable them. They are good in those best of threes, especially. That's worth talking about. So it'll be a very different story if Empire makes it all the way there. And they do have another match also against Invictus Gaming, so that's going to be an important one for them later in making that spot happen. But Dan's going to get the lead off here. The first round of Consulate, down goes Beaulo.
Empire's fate is very firmly in their hands, playing both TSM and Invictus. All they need to do is just win. That's it. That's all it's going to take.
Just win, Parker.
Just win. It's really quite that simple. TSM angling for their second win here, as we talked about before. JoyStiCK down below. This is an angle that we'd seen from him in their Team Liquid matchup.
Oh, Dan is going to be very difficult to dislodge behind this desk. It's a tough spot to hold, but when you see the player put there, you know that he knows how to do it. ShepparD, the second kill for Empire. TSM unable to answer back so far. They don't actually have anyone on the balcony. They're going to rotate Chala over to that balcony to apply the pressure. You can see him repelling up now.
That Gon 6 hit its target, or did it get eaten by an ADS?
I didn't quite see it.
Or potentially used to pop the Aruni gate. A bit confusing. Geo gets the first kill for TSM, and they will need to get a couple more of those, as Always is next in the line of sight for Geo, still playing off of this position with Pojo right next to him. Chala's out on the window for a crossfire being established, and Dan is still holding up inside a projector who could be Chala's intended target. But Dan's been so accurate with his shots, they almost managed to take him down, but Chala does get him. Pojo toiling, twisting, and turning by the long desk. He'll back away and watch over towards yellow. He trades off Chala. Geo falls, so Pojo will need to clutch out. Not a ton of time left to do it with. He knows that there's one down below, and he'll make a ton of noise. Might as well be a herd of elephants. He gets finished off by Always.Empire. Open things up with a round victory.
Very big round there for Empire, and you can see that they are hyped up. He got a little bit loud at the end of that one. They need these rounds to go their way. They need this map to go their way, and they can still have that chance. So, big win. TSM, really standard execution from admin office, but that's what you come to expect on console. Honestly, there's not a lot of fluctuation in the executions here. One big problem there for TSM is that the slow nature of their rotations. We did see somebody get to the balcony on TSM side, but way too late in the round for it to truly matter. They did also kill the player in projector on Empire side. I believe that was Dan, but again, a little late on that. And those early picks that we saw from Empire, they went a long way at blunting the momentum the attack was trying to build.
Downstairs, Empire will go. This is their second crown at defense. For those that are eagle-eyed fans of Rainbow Six, do know that, well, Empire's last match that they played prior to this one was also on console. And we actually casted that one, Michael.
Yes, we have been on a lot of console lately, Parker.
Yes, we have. We've been on a tear, and it was Team Liquid versus Empire. Liquid ended up coming out on top, required all 12 rounds. It was a 7-5 score for Team Liquid. Empire, when they went on to defense, went with this exact same rotation. They started upstairs on console office. Then they went to garage and lobby when needed. They did not play Teller's Archives at all. Also keep in mind, though, Empire had banned out Pulse. That's, in fact, the only difference in the operator bans at the moment. It was TSM banning Echo, and that's the small change, which is obviously a targeted ban towards Team Empire.
Yeah, and I like the Echo ban. We've been seeing Echo be used fairly well on console in general. Even if Empire doesn't want to run it, it's just better to say, hey, you know what? We don't want to deal with Echo, regardless of who we're playing. Oh, JoyStiCK will have just hacked a drone. I think it's been shot. They know that there is a roamer upstairs. I would imagine that the information has been gathered by TSM, but they're very slow to collapse on that. Oh, drone in a position to call out, and there's the Jackal track on JoyStiCK. He is now stuck in the closet and possibly going to be cut off from those players on Repel, but he's doing a good job at least of wasting time and killing drones.
He's just going to still play inside a cubby, and there goes the grenade. He expertly baits it out. Doesn't have to worry too much about a follow-up for now. Achieved still has one in his pocket, and there he goes, but JoyStiCK doesn't take any damage. Achieved might not be aware of that. Gunfire going through, and the hatch opened up so conveniently by that grenade, and now JoyStiCK has an escape route out of the cubby and towards safety.
Now you know where not to nade if you're trying to collapse the player. Look at this though, Scyther, he will be collapsed upon. And there's another by yellow, that's JoyStiCK trying to support his teammate. The AK-12 in the hands of Beaulo, a fearsome weapon.
If only he had the Beaulo charm equipped, Michael. Think about what he could have done with that.
If only, yeah, I probably would have landed both of those headshots actually.
Yeah, in fact, just a little bit better than he already was.
Plus 5% to aim, I hear.
That's what I've heard as well.
Now, Pojoman on Repel, trying to cut off the rotation through Mezzanine. This is not an easy position to hold, but Achieved is the one to get the next kill, and you know, TSM are starting to run away with this round. It's all on Always, ShepparD.
When Electric Claw goes from below, Nitro Cell for ShepparD. Will be intended for Achieved. He puts it away. Not the time to use it, I suppose. Now he'll toss it up, but he misses an opportunity, and Achieved manages to get away so luckily.
Oh, man.
Poor timing on ShepparD's part for that one.
You got to feel bad for ShepparD with moments like that. Really, not a lot he could have done better there other than keep his gun up, but he didn't know. How could he have? So open goes panel 1, and most of panel 2. Got that garage nice and wide. TSM will be ready to execute when the time comes, but speaking of time, only 30 seconds left.
Holding this tight angle. Pojo sees the barrel of the Alda, by the way. He knows that somebody's still there, so grenade goes out.
Oh.
And it downs Always, and he can capitalize off of this, knowing that he's got the down finished off. Nicely played by Pojoman. ShepparD is the only one to stop a flawless round from TSM right now as the diffuser is being planted. Marks come in, so he has intel. We haven't seen a flawless in a while. It seems like in the midst of this desperation, they can stop it, and ShepparD will do just that. Crosses through and takes out Geo. Now he's got the diffuser, only 35 seconds ahead of him. Not a ton that he can do.
No.
Buried inside a cafeteria.
There it is.
Finished off by Chala.
So he did deny the flawless. That is valuable for the statistics, I suppose. You can throw a little bit of a wrench in your enemy's plans, but really, that two-piece at the beginning of the round by Beaulo, it's much the same as the last round, but now it's TSM getting those 2 early kills that were unanswered, whereas in the first round, Empire did. Well done to Beaulo. Well done to his teammates for droning him in there. Curious to see, you know, I get that JoyStiCK wanted to support his teammate, but re-engaging on yellow there, that's very dangerous considering how far up TSM was. Obviously, at this, you know, we can say hindsight's 20/20, and he probably didn't know, but still a risk taken and a move punished by TSM. At that point, it was pretty easy to convert it to a site hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One by one, the players off site got dwindled down in numbers. And then
protect your bombs from
once those garage panels get opened up and you have to risk a nitro cell, you rely on your teammates to cover you when you push forward with that nitro. And hand, obviously not the case when everybody's dead. So
by attackers.
what can you do? Die, I guess.
Oh no, Nihilist
died.
Parker's back.
He died.
He's returned.
We'll all die eventually.
Oh, slowly fading away.
Life is fleeting. Our actions futile.
He's not always like this, chat.
Aspiring.
Sometimes he's...
And I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, Parker.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back.
Yeah, I missed you.
10
I missed
seconds
you too,
left.
buddy.
So, we've got Empire defending the bottom floor once again. Looks like they're going to also be investing in that top round. They seem to be under the impression that they know what mistakes they made last round, and they know they can correct them in this one. Let's see if they're right.
Strong being played out here by Scyther. Something that both Team Liquid and Empire had done in their matchup here on console, and TSM was doing it against Team Liquid, and vice versa, a matchup earlier today. So teams playing off of the sheer amount of windows and angles that when you approach console, you need to be cognizant of.
Well, it's difficult on this map. The windows play such a large part for both teams. And Geo, actually, you can see he's pretty far out there because he's worried about the pressure from those open windows. TSM has gotten control of admin, and they're pushing that forward to top spiral, projector. So you can see it's all being droned out right now. Very strategic, very structured for TSM. They do expect to see roamers on the other side of the top floor, usually by CEO in yellow, and that's exactly what we have here for Empire.
Oh, Beaulo trying to recreate what he did in the previous round by taking out 2 separate members of Empire so early on, but the gunfight does not go in his direction. He loses some HP, goes to utility work, and then we take a look at what Empire is doing as they head for the hills. They've been pushed off of that 3rd and 2nd floor, as had been discussed before in the previous round, and now Dan waits patiently. Everybody but him have gone back to that bomb site.
And he's just going to be inside the bathroom. SMG 11 in hand. Highest DPS gun in the game right next to the BOSG, which doesn't really count. It's a double barrel slug shotgun, so we're just going to ignore that. Beaulo opening up above, trying to put pressure on that player inside of the bathroom. They probably know that he's there. And yeah, based on their play right now, they certainly do. And they're trying to poke some holes in that little bunker. Eventually, Dan will fall back through the drop. And there he just did it just now. TSM might not be aware of that, but they have full top and middle floor control.
1 minute left. They'll open up some of that wall with the Selma tossed out by Beaulo. Clear line of sight down below. Dan wants to contest that shot. They'll fight for a challenge up in that angle, holding true. The ceiling just next to him being destroyed by the sledge of Achieved, smashing his way forward. There goes the breach. So 40 seconds, and Geo has used his hard destruction to open it up. There's still a panel that remains. As for the location of the Empire players, TSM will have to go back onto drone to try to figure this one out. Dan, he was good in that first round. In the 3rd round, he gets the opening pick onto Beaulo, burying him on yellow stairs. From above, Pojoman waiting, droning it out. There's nobody playing by white van right now. Grenade gets dropped, it goes off. It does not hit the target it wants to, and Geo's going to die because of the Banshee that he can't shoot away at. He's slowed in the smoke, and that's a capitalization for Empire. Scyther swings on the Chala, though, dies, and it's another smoke kill coming in. ShepparD doing excellent work, and he'll look for one more. He and Dan both have 2 kills apiece. The Chief from above isn't going to give them a 5th, and Empire takes their 2nd round.
Wow, what excellent smoke play there from ShepparD, really locking out the enemy. He gets the first pick on a Geo. I really do think that the Geo kill was avoidable. He walked into the smoke from outside the breach. The smoke on yellow, though, Chala had no way of getting out of that. So, well done to ShepparD and Empire as a whole. Great hold there. The biggest difference between that round defending the bottom floor and the previous one is pretty obvious. They didn't lose 2 players off site. So, speculated that Empire knew what mistakes they made the last time they defended that site. They absolutely did. Those 2 deaths early, well, let's just play hard anchor. Let's not give them a chance to get those picks. And they did technically roam, but they roamed in such a way where they were not in any way going to try and confront their opponent. They knew they could win it on the clock, and they did.
So Empire learning from their mistakes on that garage hold. We talked about the site rotation that Empire likes on this map. They will not go to Teller's Archives unless absolutely required to do so, which, thanks to the way the 3 site rotation works, they're never going to be absolutely required to do it. Let's not kid ourselves here. So for Empire, they go back upstairs to console office. They've got lobby in their back pocket if they require it. And with the way that Empire has been learning from their mistakes and the fact that console office went in Empire's favor all the way back in round number 1, lobby seems likely.
Yeah. So the question is, will TSM learn from their mistakes? They've lost this site before. Can they take it now? Looks like they're setting up for yet another admin take. That is obvious from their spawns. On Empire's side, let's see. They do have reinforced wall by just the stairs, but they're not confronting the admin push much. As you can see from their positioning. Potentially a C4 from below. TSM will need to deal with that. Probably going to send Chala downstairs, I imagine, since he's playing on that 0. You could put some of those cams down there, and then you don't actually have to play a player downstairs. Chala does have a drone in there right now, so he'll put another one. Yeah, you could see what his job is quite clearly. It's the flank watch. Now TSM, we're finally going for repel as they drone out small office and cafeteria, printer. They establish that's all clear. They can start focusing their efforts on the site.
It's going to be the same point of entry for Beaulo above. Chala on that 0 operator, as you had mentioned. No more Jackal. The experiment is over. Empire's aggressiveness had come back to bite them in that 2nd round, but since then it seems to be doing all right. Scyther looked like he was going to try to replicate round number 2, but who knows exactly what his thoughts were.
Drone's being shot away at by Dan. Again, very difficult role for Dan to try and stay alive in Projector. You're very exposed there, but Dan is one of those players that can make it work, and has done in the past. C4 from JoyStiCK. Ooh, the timing is everything here. Oh, Pojoman just walked past it, I believe. And I don't know if it's still there, but I'm guessing it is, and the call is just being not made. It could be a 2-piece if he triggers right now. And he doesn't. Pojoman is still, I believe, exposed to that one. I mean, it's all going to come down to the timing of when he decides to trigger it, and that's up to JoyStiCK. So far, we've also seen the Selmas going up on the wall, eating away at those flank drones there for JoyStiCK, trying to limit the information for TSM.
Yeah. Whether the Nitro Cell is there or not, Beaulo stands over top of it. There were some issues with the Selma on the wall into Projector. Dan goes down. There's been a dedicated effort from Pojo to try and deal with that, but it's just Achieved, the one credited with it. This run out from JoyStiCK also gives his position away, so the call from TSM is that there's 3 people in there, and there goes a Nitro Cell from Scyther, used so effectively. In the midst of the smoke is Pojo. No! They keep going down to these toxic canisters. They cannot be committing those mistakes time and time again. The good news for TSM is that here at 3v3, Beaulo almost missing his shots, but he lands it and always pops up and refrags onto his teammate, getting him, avenging him on his behalf. Chala and Achieved versus Always and ShepparD. That's what it stands at the moment. And there goes the Aruni gate. Chala not wanting to give away his position nor any particular HP, but that entire punch hole setup from ShepparD will be his undoing. Empire looking to extend their lead now, and they'll do just that with ShepparD being the superstar performer. That's 3-1 for Empire.
ShepparD's play on smoke is some of the best in the world, and he's putting up a masterclass right now. Full control with those gas canisters. Great positioning, using his weaponry to the best of his ability. Using that shotgun in close range, the SMG-11 at medium to long range when he has the opportunity. And you just have to be thoroughly impressed by ShepparD's smoke play through these 4 rounds. Now going into this, the 5th round, he's actually going to switch over to the Maestro. And hey, you know what? Do what you want to do. We know ShepparD's going to lock it down as the anchor no matter what role he's on. So Empire find themselves up 3-1. That top floor,
Defenders
not something that
protect your
TSM
bombs
is
from being
comfortable
defused by
attacking clearly.
attackers.
The bottom floor, TSM managed it one time, but Empire were able to read the attack strategy and adjust for it. Now we go to, as you predicted, and we discussed, that middle floor for Empire. We'll see how they manage here. If you want to support TSM,
You want to talk about it?
well, I figured you would pick it up because I dropped it right as it was up, so I just figured.
I gestured to it.
But I mean, yeah, but I do them.
I pointed at the screen.
I do them so much more than you.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to look as fly as TSM does? Because
I don't know if that's possible. Is that possible?
Well, now
I want to look as fly as TSM.
Well, now you bring the throw.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Anyway,
Sorry.
if you would like to look as fly as TSM, you're welcome to do so. You can support them by purchasing their skin in the game, the Rainbow Six Share skin. A portion of the proceeds go back to the teams. There you go. Thank you.
And live to revenue.
Promise.
Promise.
I can't get over the fans, man. I can't.
You
We've had
see it.
4 matches of just staring at the fans.
we can't get away from Consulate. And
You don't know what it does to a man.
we can't get away from Consulate, and we can't get away from the fans. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's why we're making sure everyone knows. So, Empire trying to make sure everyone knows that they are the dominant Consulate team, as they have been looking really good on this defensive half. The one round for TSM, off those 2 kills, I would say that gives a little bit of hope for TSM and their fans. But again, the swiftness at which Empire adjusted to their mistakes in the next round is just so impressive, and that makes me worry if I'm a TSM fan.
Empire are also fighting for their lives, Michael. So
Yeah,
there's
way
a
important.
huge amount of just weight on their shoulders. And the one thing that we can say about Empire is that they don't really buckle to the pressure the way a lot of other teams do.
Yeah, they're really good at maintaining their composure.
It's lobby defense now for Empires. We're halfway through this 5th round. One more defense for Empire remains after that.
So Empire have noticed that their hold upstairs is something that TSM is struggling to deal with, and so they're repeating it here for their top floor defense. Sometimes the roamers would fall back, but I think Empire realizes this is actually going to be a solid hold.
Well, Dan drops at the right amount of time and still has the ability to fight through those openings that have been created in the floor. JoyStiCK, the first to be punished as Geo opens things up. A 5v4 for TSM awaits the final minute of action. With Dan sitting down below, still watching this angle, that we know there's somebody out on the balcony. Does he, though? That's the real question. Because if he doesn't, well, he's going to fall off. A beautiful shot on the Chala. And down he goes, but he's traded off immediately by Pojo from above. He has his teammates back. And the Avenge comes in. ShepparD could be the next one, Alda in hand.
And that maintains TSM's advantage, and now going to the dying seconds, all they need to be able to do is get that diffuser down. Easier said than done, though, as they only just now open the front door.
Achieved knows there's somebody playing behind that deployable shield, and the smoke goes out. These have been particularly deadly against TSM. Where are the ADSs? That'll be the real question. We know there was 2 upstairs. They'll need to take care of that deployable shield that Scyther is playing behind. Pojoman fighting Shadows. He's with Geo as they are now inside of the site. Geo will attempt the plant. You need full coverage from TSM, and the good news is that you've got the numbers advantage. Always punished for it. Pojo standing sentinel over top, and the diffuser goes down. Scyther sneaking up from the back, but there's too many angles to watch, and TSM bounce back as they close the gap between them and Empire.
Big round there for TSM, and I love the way they executed it. It seemed as though they were going to try and take their top floor clear and turn that into a front door hit. That's predictable, that's standard, and it would have caused problems for TSM because ShepparD was still up with that Alda, and there was still the smoke as well available for Empire. I believe Scyther was on it. So there was plenty of denial that could have come out for that front door, but TSM, they focused their efforts on Spiral Statue area, and that allows them to get a deep sight plant through adequate coverage from Pojoman. Well done, reading the situation correctly. And even though that came to the very, very last minute of the round, or last seconds of the round, I guess, TSM still managed to get that plan down.
Many bombs as they can.
Now we go to the bottom floor. This is a 1-1 site, so each team has won here one time on this first half. And this will be the deciding round for whether or not TSM can get an even split out of the first half, or if Empire come up with the advantage. I have to say, considering the stakes involved here, Parker, I am thoroughly impressed by TSM's play.
Yes.
And if I'm Empire, even though I'm up 1 round, I would be very worried.
I do agree with that. I mean, we'll see exactly what happens with the side swap. If we scoot on over to yesterday's match against Team Liquid, Empire took 3 rounds on defense and then only 2 rounds on attack. In fact, they struggled really hard to find their footing against Liquid on attack. Now, Liquid and TSM at this current event are not the same team.
Yeah.
But this map still plays out quite in a linear fashion. And if Empire are as slow as we saw yesterday against Liquid, TSM are capable of punishing them in the same way.
Yeah, and it really is a case of, and I discussed it when we were casting that match yesterday, it really is a case of just, on defense, if your enemy's attacking slow on this map, then be slow.
Yeah.
Wait out the time. We've seen Empire utilize that on defense already.
Oh, absolutely. But Achieved, that's not what you want. Are we going to get
No.
more from JoyStiCK? Geo, how do you miss those shots? You had a clear line of sight onto him. My, that is a heartbreaker for TSM on a round that they desperately needed to win.
I mean, he must have been hitting the railing, Parker, but it's still pretty embarrassing considering, oh wow, a double pass there. It's still pretty embarrassing considering he essentially had like full visual and he knew exactly where his opponent was. JoyStiCK, I mean, really impressed by his ability to use that run out to great effect.
Yeah. Well, you can take chances, take advantage of your opponents if you think that that's something that works out. And if you're Empire, you play fast and loose. You get under the skins of TSM, get in their head. This is a TSM team that is obviously playing for 3rd place, but the expectations on them are significantly lesser than what you see on Empire. Yep. So for Empire, you want to stay in it. And confidence, like what you saw at JoyStiCK, is huge mentally to move forward on.
Many teams in Empire's position would buckle under the pressure. And the fact that Empire is maintaining their confidence, as you just mentioned, is super important. And it's just typical Empire. I think we mentioned that earlier. They're really good at persevering when the pressure is high.
Absolutely. Ice in their veins. We say they're as cool as a Russian winter, I think we've said before. Pojoman just falls and Chala picks up the diffuser immediately. That's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, this looks like a 4-2 half if I've ever seen one, but let's see what Beaulo and Chala can do. They've got 45 seconds to work with. That's plenty of time. Great guns, full HP, maybe a few 1v1s here and there, and we see ourselves in a 2 versus 3 that's much more winnable for the attack. Who knows?
There goes the hatch dropping in, not to the back of the site, but over towards server. So TSM have that available for them if they want to, and if they decide that's the option, they say, yes, let's do that. Chala will go down, but there is a barricaded door that will slow him down, and because of that, they now know he's ever closer to getting on in. Another toxic canister goes off. ShepparD has been especially deadly with those so far today. Beaulo finds the first kill for TSM. He needs some more than that, or Chala does rather. Chala's still there, but JoyStiCK has the flank. He's perfectly prepared for it. That's a 4K for him to seal the deal, and very coincidentally give his team the 4th round of the first half.
Taking a solid 4-2 half there for Empire is great on Consulate, which is, as we mentioned earlier, a very balanced map. By earlier, I mean yesterday. I don't think we actually talked about that today. So JoyStiCK with that run out and getting that 2-piece and getting back into the building to then get a 4K. I mean, yeah, good job JoyStiCK, but also what for TSM? That's rough. Yeah, okay. So with that, TSM, they now have to recover in the second half, but we talked about this. There's every chance that Empire's attacks on this map will be less than ideal. And, I mean, we've seen that from them already on this map, so I wouldn't be surprised. And if that repeats here today, if they are too slow on the attack, and if that causes problems for them, then, well, we might see ourselves in a much closer match than what the scoreline currently suggests.
Yes, absolutely. So, what becomes of this second half? Neither team has taken their tactical timeout just yet, so you can still take a pause and discuss amongst yourselves and see what exactly it is that you can improve upon.
I think I don't suspect that TSM will do that, frankly. I do think that if Empire starts losing here, they will. They need to consider all options. I think TSM's opting for a fast and loose type strategy right now, though.
Yeah, this is exactly what they did with Liquid.
Yeah. Now, they've got, I believe this is a bottom floor defense. Yes, indeed. Empire are very focused on the bottom floor. They're trying to clear out those electro claws from Kaid. There you go. That's actually a 2-for-1. They get, oh no, there was only one on the wall. It's a juggling from Geo. Let's see if he gets it. It's going to be close, and yes, right at the end, Geo saves the wall, and he's going to go in to pick up his electric claw so he can continue to juggle as the second nade comes in. Oh, but it looks like he threw the electric claw too early. That is rough by just a second. The nade will get that electric claw, and the wall will open.
Unlucky timing. In goes the clone of Yana, gets shot away at. As you saw that Shamika launcher being put in from Chala, who's now down and dead. Dan walks right in, and that is a triumphant entrance. He's looking for more, but Geo says no thank you. Always is there as Empire just bursts into the site. All of a sudden, they have a huge and sizable advantage. They've still got 4 bodies up, and ShepparD will do what needs to be done to get that diffuser planted. As the gunfire rains through the floor, Achieved will now try to outduel Scyther. He does a successful job of that, but the diffuser gets planted nonetheless. Beaulo, what are you going to be able to do? Nothing. ShepparD says, good night. Take care. Achieved now in a 1v3 from above. He knows how dire this could be. Empire putting in an absolute clinic on this very first round and will prompt Achieved to go somewhere entirely different than we were originally expecting. All the while, the time is continuing to waste down, and there's almost no chance he's going to be able to make it there. 7 seconds is how long it takes to get to the diffuser, or to get the disable off, and we're already at the 12-second mark.
Yeah, I think it's physically impossible at this point. He'll challenge with ShepparD and round over.
Be spilt about whether a team is, at its heart, still so competitive, wants to come in and not necessarily try as hard as they need to.
I mean, there's a lot of discussion that's going to be had, I'm sure, in the community about that. But I will be honest, it all comes back to Merc. It all comes back to the lack of that crucial player in the TSM lineup.
Yep.
And the fact that the roles just don't work the same way with Pojo filling for Merc. If it were Geo that weren't able to make it, which that would be a shame as well.
Pojo would slot into that role much easier.
He would fit right in.
In fact, they looked great when Pojo was on that role.
That was actually
in the season at the NA League.
I would argue that when Geo was out and Pojo was filling, that was some of the best siege we'd ever seen from TSM. And I don't know that there's a causation there, but they were playing very well at that time.
Attacker's objective is to defuse the bomb.
Match could be on the line here if TSM doesn't right the ship. They call that timeout. Beaulo will go back for a spawn peek. If he dies early on, then that's tough for TSM. They like this lineup that they brought last time around, so why not? Let's go for it yet again.
Achieved with the C4, and it goes on the window. I think he detonates it, and nothing happens. Well, he'll walk away with no C4. Ready to run out on the balcony. Potentially make a play on Empire, who look to want to full clear this time. So instead of the direct sight hit, Empire is going at the slow road.
All that's being made is Achieved looks for an avenue back to the bomb site if required. This is a downstairs hold yet again for the second round in a row. TSM liked something that they saw on the first crack at Garage. They're going to do it again.
Oh.
But Achieved's not going to like this one. Dan, ever elusive, punishing Achieved. First kill comes very early in this round, and it comes in favor of Empire.
Ooh, Beaulo, difficult challenge here. He has the drop open, so he can retreat. He's going to try, I'm guessing, to get another pick, this time for his team, before he falls back. But no, he'll just drop. Interesting call for TSM to drop when they're at the man disadvantage. And they're not wasting too much time right now, so it's dangerous.
Here goes the hatch, and Beaulo will be brought on down, thanks to none other than Chala with that destruction work that comes with the LMG. Pojoman remains the lone body right now, sitting by lobby and playing still upstairs. Beaulo going for a full flank. Now he's over down below Visa, where JoyStiCK currently lords over top of. Beaulo's just going to wait very patiently to see if any of those drops open up, and if he can collect a kill off of them. After that very first pick, not much has happened. Pojo does get droned out, and in Bathroom, he's not going to make it anywhere in a hurry except for dead. No, Geo, what on earth? You can't be doing that. Chala will now just look at the smoldering carcass of a round. An ace clutch will be needed for him. Oh, but he's playing this one perfectly. There's opportunities for another, and there it is, but his position has been given away inside of security. Oh, and he just needs one more. Are we about to see it? An ace clutch lined up, but no! So close, and Scyther shuts him down. You know Chala was feeling it, and he played it almost perfectly. But Empire moved to match point.
Parker, I am so frustrated by that, and for Chala, he just barely avoided making history. He almost made, that would have been one of the most incredible clutches we'd ever seen at a S-tier event in Siege. That would, wow. So close, very NT, extremely NT. Slightly better gun, and I think it would have had it. Now, you got to keep in mind that the DPS on that LMG is in the floor.
Yes.
It's
quite
tiny.
low.
It's really impressive.
It's quite low, yes.
The only advantage he had there was the ammunition, which he used to great effect. But yeah, wow, what a try. Empire on match point now.
Defenders protect
one away from getting those points, those 3 points that they really desperately want in order to potentially qualify for the playoffs. TSM doing their darndest to deny it.
What a heartbreaking result for Chala.
I know, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. He got so close.
Unbelievable.
50 HP. No.
Just absolutely unbelievable play.
Yeah, he went John Wick for a moment there. He just was like pivoting from left to right to front to center to back and up and down and just killing everything in his path. Chala is an absolute Terminator.
5 seconds left.
But it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You got to imagine one kill from any of his teammates earlier in the round, and we're looking at a completely different scenario. Oh, well.
Oh, boy.
Everyone feels bad collectively for him, even Empire.
To be fair, Empire did push him one by one.
To be, yeah, of course, but he also pushed them, so he forced those 1v1s in some instances. I would say that was on Chala. I mean, even we saw, I think it was JoyStiCK dropped an NT in the chat.
Insane.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
So TSM now, the only thing they have really going for them are 2 rounds, which are, you know, rounds that Empire could have also won, frankly, thinking back. And an almost clutch from Chala. And apart from that, Empire have looked like the absolutely dominant team in this matchup.
I think it's kind of funny that when you sledgehammer that, it doesn't immediately break the cam.
I think there's a way that you can make it do that. Like it depends on where. But yeah. I don't know. I've never tested that. But it is funny, yeah. You would think it would. Always.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
So the last stand for TSM. Are we about to see the final round that this team is going to play here in Mexico? They won the previous matchup against Liquid, but that seems to be about it, as Empire has them right now on the razor's edge.
That'd be a great place to land an Ash Charge. And I think Dan is aware of the potential there, but he does not use it yet. Possibly waiting for his teammates to set up for the execute on that top floor. This is a middle floor defense, but you need to clear the wrong shot above. And there's that Ash Charge. So yes, he was waiting a little bit just for the appropriate time. It doesn't get the ADS, it doesn't get the shield, and it doesn't do any damage to Achieved.
So ultimately not as successful as they wanted to be. The magnets that were giving Chala some extra staying power inside a projector are now long gone. And he'll have to get out of there, as you can still hear the telltale sounds of that G36C on the balcony, as that's where Dan is posted up. This is a slow round from Empire. They realize what's on the line here. They don't need to rush it.
Ooh, downstairs, Chala will fight JoyStiCK and win it out. Top performer for his team, and he's giving them what they need. As Scyther also goes down at top Visa stairs, likely to Achieved.
Achieved has the angle here. I don't know if Scyther is retrievable, and with only 30 seconds left, the priority for Empire might be to look elsewhere than to try and get Yana back up on her feet. Pojoman taken out by Always, so it is technically a 4v4, despite the fact that Scyther is immobile and can't really do anything. Dan's still on this balcony, gets challenged by Beaulo. That's not a fight that Beaulo usually loses, but he does anyway. Chala securing onto Scyther, so a 3v3. 10 seconds remaining. Always gets caught as he vaults on out. Geo a big double piece, and that's Diffuser down as well. Dan is miles away, so there's no chance he's going to be able to get in. Impactless frags are all he can accumulate, and he'll get one before Achieved shuts the door on a potential comeback. TSM pick up round number 3, and they stay alive.
Well played there to Geo on the Jaeger. Right time, right place, and he's not missing his shots. So TSM, they are going for it, and that tactical timeout works very well for them here.
Well, they managed to turn things around. They're going to go back to the fabled garage bomb site where Chala almost clutched on before. That was about the closest they've come to a successful hold. This will be their third attempt on this bomb site, right now being 0-2. They have changed some things up, though, and I don't know if Beaulo will be 6-picking. Yes, he does. They had baited out the pulse. Why? To make Empire think that it was a Teller's Archives defense. In this case, Wamai comes in. Far more pivotal on a map or on a site like Garage on this map.
I don't know if they're going to fall for that, because usually when you bring the pulse, you 6-pick into it if you actually are going Archives Tellers.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they will. Empire did 6-pick their Yana into a Zofia for whatever that means. I mean, they feel very similar roles.
Yes, they do.
So, Empire probably going to figure out what they're dealing with pretty early on here. Chala once again on the Tachanka. Thank the Lord for that. And by Lord, I mean Tachanka.
Lord Tachanka. You want to thank Lord Tachanka?
I am thanking Lord Tachanka. I just did.
First jokes are so played out.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
I don't know.
Are you gonna file a complaint?
Yes.
This is really bugging you, isn't it?
No. Anyway, a potential final round again. We'll continue to say this as we move forward. Is this the last round that we're going to see from TSM?
Oh, I like that setup there from Beaulo inside the bathroom. They're much more dedicated to the bathroom hold. Looks like Empire's going to prioritize opening up Garage and middle work. There you go. Panel 2 and 3 open up. And that'd be a good avenue for the attack to hit the site. But they still haven't cleared out the roamers. I'm curious if they're even trying. Let's take a look at the top floor, see if there is dedicated roam clear. It looks like the answer is no. Either that or it's just really far behind. No. JoyStiCK. There you go. Projector. And he is actually kind of solo roam clearing right now. He's got teammates droning for him, and he is also playing Jackal, so he can scan the footprints. But it's still a slower roam clear because he's alone.
The top floor control is theirs, and now you clear out the main floor. 3 floors here on console, where all the action from TSM will likely occur down below. They don't want to invest too much off-site in case they sacrifice an early pick. So much more restrained, much more conservative defense. The only player that could potentially make some damage done on this first floor is Beaulo. He's got the hatch opened up to his left, and he can drop whenever he wants. I don't know if he's been droned out just yet. He might be sitting on some mute jammers, but given the fact that, while there's tons of reinforcements, they have to suspect that somebody's up there. Looks like some debris might actually be stopping them from seeing Geo down below as they're trying to get the wall going open.
Ooh, Beaulo's opening up above that wall, actually, so he can impact trick should they actually put an exothermic on the wall. So that'll be good for him if that's what they decide to do. But look at this soft wall on the far bathroom side, and now Beaulo's got to fight a totally different angle.
Unless Beaulo wants to drop, and that might be the case here. Beaulo picks up JoyStiCK. ShepparD goes down, or Geo goes down to ShepparD. Beaulo's just still playing off of the same spot. Pistol out. A third lined up for him. Swings around, but he times it incorrectly. The duel will continue to go down through those slats. Beaulo will be able to see. There's plenty of time to reload. But he's been able to narrow down the numbers for Empire, and they're now the ones who trail. Beaulo still playing behind the shield. Dan looking to collect, but nobody can. Beaulo putting in work. A 4th kill for him, maybe.
And I don't know if you can hear us, but everything has just crashed from the server to the computers to the stage. So the round will hit 0.
Well, the determination is that TSM would have won the round with about 30 seconds remaining. Beaulo would have received the last kill in bathroom, and the defensive setup was in such a way that Empire would not have been able to overcome that with what little time was remaining, and as such, the admins have given that 10th round to TSM. Still, though, as you can see on your screen, Empire sit on match point. They desperately need this victory if they want to make it to the playoffs on Friday.
Yes, this is a very important match, and it's definitely a big one for Empire. Pojoman and ShepparD both trying to insist that the server remain up. Rightfully so, I hope it does. So, we get into the action here on the middle floor. Consulate TSM will be still on defense.
Yes. So, That said, this bathroom was the scene of the crime for the previous round. Obviously, it's going to be a very pivotal part of this defensive structure, but for very different reasons. The bathroom's connection to both the bomb sites, effectively acting as a midpoint between both piano and lobby, means that you need to flush that person out because you likely won't have the ability to get the diffuser planted while somebody is playing in that spot.
Yeah, actually, interesting challenge we saw in that last round. I talked to Beaulo about it, and what was happening there was Empire were continually challenging him one by one, but they're doing it over the shield. A lot of pre-aiming over the shield, expecting Beaulo to stand up, but Beaulo challenged to the right, caught 4 players off guard in that round. Big round for him. To start this round off, he's going to lose most of his HP as he attempts to peek out of the building. And we will see the first kill fall, in fact, for TSM. Down goes Dan, and oh no, a team kill. Looks like something's going on as they continue to team kill each other. It seems there has been a call. I'm not sure. This person.
It's up for debate.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We are in the match. By the way, on your screen, you will see what could be the last round. I know that it has been a long wait, and once again, we greatly appreciate your patience. But there is a score to settle, and something needs to be done now. Make sure that TSM is not going to one of the sites that they are not allowed to go to.
And we are picking up, it seems, from where we left off when the power went out. So just a different site here for TSM, and yep, we will continue on, continuing on.
And they're going to go to Archives Tellers. It'll be given away. The Pulse, as we talked about, was 6th pick bait at one period in time.
Yep.
In a not-so-distant world, now there is actually going to be a Pulse on the board, and the Nitro Cells being trotted out by TSM. They are well-equipped. 4 explosives in their pockets. 5, technically, if you want to be pedantic, because the impact grenades in Beaulo's pockets also explosives. So,
boom. Everyone brought, boom.
Very different utilization of those impacts than you will see from the 4 Nitro Cells. Quadrupling up on it. Empire sticking with the tried and true lineup that we have seen out of them time and time again. They have explosive potential. The Jackal will be particularly irritating to deal with, and especially given that it's JoyStiCK on that operator, as he is often on Jackal.
Now it's going to be an admin take, you can tell from the spawns. Drone work going in. TSM not contesting admin whatsoever. They do have C4s below. They're probably going to keep most of those in reserve for the actual site play. Geo playing inside of Tellers. He'll look to make that take as difficult as possible for Empire, but what's not difficult is this top floor push. ShepparD is just established through his drone, but there's no one up on the east side of the top floor. But he saw, likely, Beaulo and Pojoman by the yellow stairs and CEO. So, Empire aware of what they have to deal with when they get to that position. Oh, this is some good angle play here. You can open up above Tellers, you can see through that little window, and you can actually get some good angles onto the players, potentially into the bottom floor, depending on where the defenders open their holes.
Just a tiny window that you can see on down there.
Very small.
And it doesn't need to be too much, frankly, because all you need is a...
Love.
Yeah. Well, what? No? Oh, very funny, Michael.
It took you a second. Chala and Achieved, ready to see from below. Half the round has transpired here for Empire, so they do have the control up top, all the way up top, and they're opening above. But there's so much left to cover in terms of ground. There's a lot to do.
It's a pivotal part of the map, though. And now they'll pick away at some very common spots, especially over by the hallway and the doors that you'd see down below in blue, the server function of server and Tellers. Empire have used about 2 minutes so far of this round, and Scyther's been the primary focus with his soft destruction above. But nobody from TSM is going to give him an inch. In fact, it looks like with the exception of Beaulo, most of TSM are down below. Oh, this is a very bad play by Geo as he almost falls victim to Scyther, who's going to use a ton of ammunition to tear through that floor. Beaulo is still all off on his own.
Look at this time, though. Only 2 C4s expended. No kills from either, but there's only 45 seconds as well. Oh, through the floor, no visual. Down goes Achieved, and that's, oh gosh, that's your pulse.
That's huge for the final 30 seconds now, and Empire have the advantage that they needed earlier on, assessing what they can do with this. A Nitro Cell should be ready at some point, but are they blind? That's the real question. ShepparD getting that diffuser down, and he will do so successfully. Beaulo trying to get back to the site, punished by Dan, and Empire have now a 2-man lead. from above. That'll grow to 3 as Always shuts down Chala. And it seems like TSM's run here in Mexico is effectively over. Pojo gets 1 onto JoyStiCK, but there's 4 more bodies to find, and they'll find him first. A big victory for Empire as they look to make it out of the groups and into the playoffs on Friday. As for TSM, enjoy the flight home. We've seen them play their very final matchup here in Mexico.
It took us a while to get there, Parker, but when we did, it was quite definitive. Empire, no question, they were